Hello, I'm Jyotika. Welcome to Excelling Psychology. This is part 3 of solving October November paper 2 variant 2. And I forgot to mention in my previous videos, I've been getting queries. Just want to clarify, yes, I do take private tuition for psychology. My contact details are available in the description box and pinned comment below. So if you're looking for your psychology classes, you can contact me. Okay, in part 3, we are going to look at the designer study question. So I'll just read out the question first. Always, when it comes to designing a study, read the question very carefully. Make sure you understand what is being asked and then only start writing the answer. So let's read it together. Lixin is investigating the social behavior of adults. He plans to observe adults in a town center during their lunch break. Describe how Lixin could conduct an observational study using a structured observation to investigate the social behavior of adults in a town center during their lunch break. Do not describe sample or sampling technique or ethical issues and guidelines in your answer. Okay, you need to be very clear about something before beginning. So some things have to be there in your mind. Then only make sure, like if you understood these things, then only start writing the answer. Otherwise, what happens? You start writing, you make too many cancellations, and you run out of time. So to avoid all that, just be sure. Firstly, have you understood that the research method required is observation? Some students have a tendency of making every study into an experiment. They are very clearly asked you to design an observation. So make sure you've understood this. Secondly, in observation, you have to give all types of observation. Out of those, you have been restricted to structured, meaning you're not free to take an unstructured observation. You'll have to only keep it structured. And the study has to be done in the town center, meaning that you will only have to take naturalistic observation. You can't make it controlled. So be clear on these aspects before designing. Other thing, be sure that they have told you not to take anything related to sample or ethics, so you don't take it. You will end up losing marks. As such, there is no negative marking. It's not that if you write about the sample or ethics, they're going to cut your marks. They won't give you credit, but what will happen is you run out of time. Unnecessarily, you're writing about sample and ethics. That time which you will give to your 4 markers, you will run out of that. And then if you're not able to complete the 4 markers, you will lose marks there. So in effect, you are going to lose marks. So don't give anything for which you're not going to get any marks. Besides this, make sure you've understood what the study is about. In your own words, if you can think in your mind what the study is about, then only begin with the answer. Basically, there is this person called Lixin, and he wants to know how adults are behaving during lunch break. These are workers in some town center. He wants to see that when the lunch break comes, how do they interact with each other, what he's calling social behavior. So if you've got this purpose clearly, then only start writing the answer. Okay, this is a model answer in front of us. Like any of the other answers that I've shared for this paper, it's not the only one which you can write, but in this model answer, I have covered all necessary features for observation, and any unnecessary features are not included. So if you write this type of answer, definitely you will get 10 marks. At the end of this video, I'll just take 2 minutes to discuss something about designing a study with you. In case you need more help for it, I have a course available. So I'll talk to you about that. First, let's go over this answer. To begin with, in an observation study, because giving the procedure is important, we can specify where the study will be done. That as such is fixed, that it has to be done in the town center. But where in the town center it will be done, that we can elaborate upon in terms of location. So I have included some examples here: cafeterias, park benches, food stalls. Near these or in these areas in the town center is where the study will be done. Another thing you can give, because it's naturalistic, is the timing. So location and timing, very good to describe what is happening in a naturalistic observation. Lunch break usually will be between 12 to 2, and these people are on, they are workers, so they'll be working in weekdays most probably, so we can specify 12 to 2 on weekdays. Sometimes when in classes I discuss with students about designer studies, some elements they'll tell me it's obvious. Like it's obvious it has to be done during lunch break or it has to be done during weekdays. Does not mean that if something is obvious, you don't write about it. You still write about it. It might be obvious to you, but it's not obvious to the examiner that you know about it. So you have to put it down. Okay, so make sure you're making things very detailed and very explicit. Okay, so this is the first thing that I mentioned. Anytime you can pause this video, you can read the answer. If you forward little, you'll get more of the answer also to understand better. So you can read it once and come back to my guidance if that helps you to understand better. Okay, so in terms of this being a naturalistic observation, exactly where and when it's being done, I have specified. Next, they've told us it's structured. I mention it again. It has to be structured. If I give unstructured, I will lose marks. Whenever there's a structured observation, there has to be a checklist which will be used for observation, because the very definition of structured observation is that some behaviors are fixed in advance that the researcher is going to be looking out for. So what is going to be this list or checklist? We need to specify. In the sense, we need to give examples, explicit examples. Just like in a question or interview study, you give explicit examples of questions that will be asked. In an observation study, explicit examples of which behaviors are being looked at. Think of Hassett et al. Or think of Bandura et al., Fagan et al. How they have given examples of, like, say, Fagan et al. Trunk wash, which exact behaviors count for trunk wash? Trunk up, trunk out. So here also, which behaviors count as social behaviors? You need to specify them. This is like the most central part in an observation, or the key area where you get marks. So some examples, I'm not reading all of them. Like I said, you could pause and read all of them. Talking in pairs is one example. So just talking to each other during lunch. Helping behavior, supposing someone drops something, they drop their food, another individual at the table is helping them, that is social behavior. Or phone use, texting or talking over the phone to others, that is also social behavior, though it is not directly with the people there, but it is still engaging with others, so that also counts. So like that, you could give examples. There is no fixed number of how many examples you should give, but looking at it over the years, like what examiners advise and what checking we see, something around 3 examples minimum should be good. I have included more than that, you can also, but minimum give 3, don't give less than that. Okay, then more about structured observation. I just intend to keep this video short, so I'm not reading every line, you can read independently. Okay, definitely I mentioned earlier also it's naturalistic, so those features I have given, but again I have just specified it's naturalistic because in the syllabus, the features that they've given of every study, like for observation, they've said all types should be included. So just trying to keep on mentioning or keeping the features explicit, just to like show the examiner in a sense that I have covered everything. I have covered between naturalistic and control. This is a naturalistic observation, so I've specified that also. In terms of participant or non-participant, I have kept it to a non-participant observation. I feel that Lixin should not be involved. He should just keep on looking at how the workers are interacting. He should not try to go and interact with them. You could take participant also. One thing is, students feel sometimes that either one is a better choice or will get more marks. No such thing. Whether you take participant or non-participant, whether you take like if you have an option between controlled and naturalistic, you get full marks no matter which choice you take, as long as you explain how it is being implemented. Like when I say it's non-participant, I say that Lixin will not be involved in the interactions. He'll observe from a bench or stand far away. That is means I have not just said that it's non-participant, I'm explaining why it is non-participant, because this is what he's going to do. So even if I'm to take participant, if I explain exactly what it's doing, it's correct. So there's no such thing like for non-participant I'll get more marks, or that is more appropriate for this design. Everything is appropriate as long as it's justified. Then we also have between overt and covert what it should be. I suggest overt because I feel that would be more ethical in a public space. You might feel covert is better because you feel that would control for demand characteristics. Otherwise, they would be overly social just because Nixon is present. You can suggest that also. As long as you have a justification, as long as it makes sense why you're giving that thing, fine. One more mistake here becomes, to start going into strengths and weaknesses. So, going too much elaborately into it's overt because if they don't know they are being observed, they'll feel cheated and this will happen, that don't need to go into the depths of any evaluation. One thing is you're not to discuss ethics. So that's why I have justified my choice is ethical, but I'm not going to go in the detail of it. Secondly, if they want you to evaluate anything at all, they give you the next section for that, the 4 markers. So 10 marker is not for outlining strengths and weaknesses of features. It's just naming the features and suggesting how they are being implemented. That's all. Now coming to how Lixin will record the behaviors basically, because observation by definition is seeing and recording. I have suggested time sampling. You could also suggest event sampling. I know in the Cambridge syllabus, event and time sampling is not very explicitly taught. But if you see a study like Bandura, it is definitely time sampling. It's implied. Even if the term time sampling is not used, every 20 seconds they used to see what the children are doing and they used to mark on their checklist. So I have suggested something similar to that. Even if you don't use the term time sampling, it's okay as long as you explain how recording of behaviors is being done without using the name also, it's fine. Again, reiterating, how is very important. How everything is being implemented has to be given, otherwise you are not getting marks. So just naming, it'll be over, it'll be naturalistic, time sampling will be done, then you feel I didn't get marks because I should have given the opposite things. I should have given participant, covert. No, the reason you're not getting marks is you're just mentioning, just naming things without explaining exactly how the research is going about doing those things. That's why you're not getting marks. So, okay, I name that time sampling is being done, but then how is it being done? He will observe each location for every 5 minutes and record how often each behavior happens. On the checklist, I've specified behaviors are there like talking on the phone, helping others. So, every 5 minutes, he looks at which of these behaviors is happening and he marks on the checklist. He's going by time. It's not like he's counting 10 such behaviors will happen, then I'll mark on my checklist. That would be event sampling. He's just seeing every 5 minutes what is happening and he's marking, so it is time sampling. I need to explain that way. Also, one more requirement is to give the type of data in observation. So it is quantitative data. He's doing time sampling, but then he's noting how many of those behaviors are being seen in every 5 minutes. So ultimately, he'll total how many of the behaviors he's marked on his checklist. Totaling like this, counting frequencies of behaviors is quantitative data. Also, I've added to it qualitative optional. You don't have to have both types of data. I just felt it makes the plan look better. So if you feel, you can also include some qualitative aspect, like you must have seen in Pilyavin's study. Mainly it's quantitative, but any comments made are added, even in Bandura. So you're also taking inspiration from those studies. I've suggested that. Something like exactly what helping behavior they're doing. Someone is helping another man pick up a bag, or exactly what conversation they're doing. They're laughing while eating. Those are some examples of qualitative notes that will be added to the data. So just suggesting that some qualitative information is also there. No matter it's quantitative or qualitative or both, make sure to specify and show how that is being collected. Now coming to, we know for any study that we do, we have to suggest how it will be made reliable and valid. For reliability, I've suggested some sort of like test, retest reliability, though I have not used that exact term, but I'm just saying that he'll repeat the procedure on multiple days. So not on only 1 day's one lunch break, he will be looking at social behaviors, multiple days, multiple lunch breaks, he will look at them. And then he can just tally or verify across instances whether he's seeing similar social behaviors or not. This is exactly what we call test, retest reliability. So he's not relying on one instance, but aggregating across instances that way. And coming to how the plan will be valid, and please keep noting how I have suggested everywhere explicitly the features, just to make it obvious to the examiner that I'm, covering. I'm not doubting the examiners at all, but sometimes what happens is examiners have too many papers to correct. So, they have to read at a certain speed. They can't give that much time to every paper. So you can just make their work easier and make sure that they don't accidentally also skip the fact that you're covering all the features. You can keep on naming, like validity will improve like this, reliability. So it just comes across very prominently to the examiner. Okay, she has spoken about reliability. She has spoken about validity that way. So to improve validity, as we have suggested that structures categories are being used, that only point we are connecting it or using it to justify validity. Because if these structured categories were not there, like talking, chatting, helping others, then if Lixin had to decide on the spot which behavior counts as social and which doesn't, subjectivity comes in and he might include some irrelevant actions which are not actually social. In fact, he might miss out also on those actions which are actually social. So to avoid all those inaccuracies of taking irrelevant things or ignoring relevant ones, structured categories are there. That is increasing validity. It is beyond the scope of this lesson to explain too much about designing a study. The aim is to solve the paper, but still one more thing, because so frequently we see these mistakes. Sometimes using the term validity but justifying in terms of reliability. Like saying something like structured categories are there so multiple observers could look at the same thing and cross verify. That is inter-observer reliability. It is not validity. The way I have explained, that is validity, that it prevents inaccuracy of including irrelevant information into the recording. So make sure your fundamentals are clear. That's why research methods are very important. For your core studies evaluation, for your designer study, everywhere research study methods have to be very clear to you. So be very sure you understand what is validity, reliability before discussing it in your answer. So that was my suggestion for what you could have given in the 10 marker for paper 2 too. As you know, there will be two brief questions following. These can be either from reliability, validity, or in general strengths and weaknesses. Let's see what was asked this year. One thing was asked, explain how one feature of the procedure helps to make the study valid. Now, what has happened in the syllabus 2024 onwards is in the 10 marker also they want us to give validity, reliability of the plan, and separately also they end up asking about it. So it doesn't matter. Even if what you've given in the 10 marker, you're repeating that in the 2 marker, or what you're getting 2 marker is overlapping with the 10 marker, it's fine. Because after all, the syllabus has only put a requirement that you give in 10 and 2 marker. So the same thing I've given here for validity. It's a structured observation, clear categories are there, there's no confusion between what is social and what is not, so that increases validity. Again, you can pause the video anytime and you can read the answers if you need to study more deeply. Now, one thing you need to be mindful of in the 2 markers is always give a point. So name a feature like clear category increases validity, and then give an example link to the study. I know sometimes in the AS paper they are not that rigid about linking to the study, but most of you are going to be taking psychology at A2 also. That is compulsory in these type of 2 markers that you link to the study. So make a habit out of it right now only. Even now, what happens is you might feel it's not compulsory to link, but then when it comes to elaborating on the point and justifying 2 marks, you might do such a poor job that you don't end up getting 2 marks. So why not go about it the simple way? Name the feature, just say how it is being seen in the study. It's as easy as that, and you end up getting 2 marks. So keep this format in your mind. Whenever they ask a strength or weakness, I'm going to name it first, and next I'm going to show how in this study that was seen. So clear categories makes the results more valid. So in this study, Lixin knew exactly what to look out for. That is how I have linked it to the study. I have named Lixin and I've specified in his observation he knew exactly what to look out for because of clear categories that were there. So that is how I link it. Now in the next part, they have asked explain how one feature could be a problem for validity. Okay, they are not saying that what we have given particularly in the previous, that only has to be a problem. Sometimes students misread the question. I know for some of you it will seem obvious, but some students, they read hastily. They are telling you in part A. In part A, they mean the study which we have designed. That was part A. In that, what is any one feature in the 10 marker part that is reducing validity? That is what they're asking for. Don't misinterpret it as they're asking you in this B1 part what is a weakness. That is a strength. That cannot be a weakness. Throughout, they keep mentioning do not refer to sample or ethics. Anyways, we have not included in the 10 markers, so definitely we are not going to include here also. But still be careful. Some students, even in core studies, I've seen this tendency, no matter what comes of generalizability, sample, that's the only thing in the mind, or ethics, those are their only concepts for evaluation. So here also, though it's explicitly mentioned everywhere, don't refer to sample or ethics. That impulse is there, that first thing anytime a strength or weakness comes, generalizability, informed consent, deception. They are telling you not to mention those things. If you're going to mention, you're going to get 0. So be sure you don't mention. Anyways, here we are continuing with validity only. One feature that could reduce validity. See, moment we use structured observation, the good thing for validity is we are not looking at irrelevant data. We are not making wrong judgments. But the flip side of it is there can be something useful that we are missing out on. That's why unstructured observation is preferred. If there is some social behavior that is taking place between people, but Lixin has not included it in his categories, like it doesn't qualify for helping or for chatting over the phone or on WhatsApp or whatever, then he's not going to include it on his checklist. I've given one example also, so I've linked it also. If someone's giving food to a stranger and that's not there on Dixon's checklist, in that case he's not going to count it. Means there are going to be more social behaviors than the ones which he's recording or assuming, and then his observation is not correct because he is underestimating social behavior shown by people. So that is reducing accuracy or validity. That's the end of the paper 2 discussion. I hope the video has been useful. You can quit the video here because what I'm going to discuss ahead is about a course that I'm offering. So if you're not interested in it, you can leave the video here. Okay, I'm preparing these pre-recorded lessons on designing a study because maximum requests I get are for designing a study. Some students like to schedule classes also only for that, or they're asking me for notes all the time. As such, the complete designer study pack is already available on my channel. I've just launched it yesterday. 8 research method studies are there possible, 2 types of experiments, observation, 2 types of self-report, longitudinal study, case study. All of this I have given one model answer of each in the designer study pack. So you're ready to design any type of study. If you're that type of student who can just keep a model answer in front of them, and from that only you can pick up all the features that are required and you can design any other question given accordingly, that pack will be very useful to you. The very previous video, the one just before this, has the full link from where you can purchase that designer study pack, so you can go for that. Some of you might need even more help, so you don't need just model answers in front of you, but you need step by step guidance on how to design a lab experiment or a field experiment and so forth. For that, I'm launching pre-recorded lessons. If you're not able to take classes from me directly for some reason, or sometimes even I'm not able to give time because my schedule is all booked, so you can purchase those pre-recorded videos. And again, how you can go about doing that, I will put it up on my channel very soon. That course is not available as of now, but I'm making it available very soon. So you can keep an eye for that. In that, I will explain to you all 8 types of research methods, how to design a study, video lessons, keeping model answers in front of you, and my guidance. Much more than what I've been able to give on this video because this was restricted to one question. Step-by-step guidance, also templates and checklists on how to design studies I will be including in that course. So it will be coming very soon. Just keep a lookout for it. In a week or so it will be out. So if you need more help, you can definitely opt for the video course. If you need minimum help, you can take the model answers, you can purchase the document which I've prepared. And if you need even greater help, in the sense you need someone to give you feedback on your answers, or you need to keep practicing with me and designing along with me, then you can schedule your classes. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, my contact details are there in the description box and pinned comment. Okay, so that was it for the paper 2 solution. I know in October some of you are giving retakes, and you might be giving A2 also along with AS level. So the next video is going to be paper 3 solution. I also try to solve variants 2 in these videos because mostly Indian students have given in Feb March. Their results are out and they are the ones who are reappearing in October. So variant 2 is most relevant to them. As such, you should practice all variants. All are very relevant and useful. But just like when I have to choose out of the 3 variants which one to do, I pick up 2 because of the Feb March connection. So next video is going to be October November paper 3 2 variant solving. So if you're the one who's giving A2 also along with AS, so stay tuned to my channel. That video is going to come up very soon. Okay, thank you for watching. Goodbye.